The morning began like any other for Adrian Hale. He woke to the faint glow of sunrise brushing the mountains, brewed the same cheap coffee he always made, and listened to the quiet hum of his small cabin. Life had been simple since he moved away from the busy city, quiet days, quiet nights, and a quiet heart that rarely felt anything stronger than mild content. He liked it this way. Peace was something he had earned after years of chaos. But peace, he would learn, is a fragile thing. The sky broke open a little after noon. Adrian was outside chopping wood when he saw the clouds split apart in a perfect glowing line. It was not lightning. It was not fire. It was a wound, bright silver light spilling out like something inside the heavens had been cut open. The light poured downward in a steady, graceful beam, falling toward the valley as if searching for something. Adrian froze with the axe still in his hands. A strange warmth bloomed in his chest, like the light itself had reached into him. It wasn't painful. It wasn't frightening. It felt like recognition, like someone whispering a name he didn't remember giving them. He took a step toward the valley, then another, drawn not by curiosity but by an emotion he couldn't name. It felt old, too old to belong to his simple, unremarkable life. Minutes later, the ground shook as something massive entered the atmosphere. Trees trembled. Birds scattered in frantic swarms. And then he saw them, ships descending from the torn sky, shaped like smooth silver petals drifting on invisible wind. They made no roar, no thunder. They were silent, graceful, almost mournful in their beauty. The world responded with panic. Sirens wailed from the town. Communication towers flashed emergency signals. Soldiers and armored vehicles rushed up the roads leading to the valley. No one understood what the ships wanted. No one had time to ask. But Adrian felt strangely calm. As the largest vessel descended, a shimmering ramp extended toward the ground. Soldiers lifted their weapons in a tight ring, shouting commands, preparing for the worst. But when the light faded, she stepped out. They had never seen anything like her. Tall, elegant, skin shimmering like polished stone under moonlight. Her long hair flowed like strands of silver smoke, and her eyes, deep violet, glowing gently, swept across the valley as if searching for one single thing in the entire world. Adrian felt his breath stop. Her gaze locked on him. The soldiers noticed her stare and moved to pull Adrian back, but he didn't move. He couldn't. Something deep inside him responded to her presence, as if a forgotten door in his heart had swung open. She walked past the armed soldiers with quiet confidence. Not a step of aggression, not a hint of fear. The air around her trembled softly with an energy Adrian did not understand, yet it felt familiar, like a dream he had lived long ago but forgotten upon waking. When she reached him, she stopped. The world held its breath. Her voice, when she spoke, was calm and warm, carrying a softness that felt impossibly ancient. "At last," she whispered, staring into his stunned eyes, "my human, I found you." Adrian felt a chill run through him, but not from fear, from connection, from the feeling that her words were true, even though he could not explain how. "I think you're mistaken," he said quietly. But she shook her head, eyes shining with something that looked almost like relief. "I have searched star after star for your resonance, for the echo your soul leaves in the cosmos. I know you." Soldiers shouted warnings, weapons clicked and buzzed. Tension cracked the air like a physical force. But she raised one elegant hand, not in threat, only in a silent request for calm. And to everyone's shock, the tension melted. Adrian's heartbeat thundered in his ears. Nothing made sense, yet everything inside him said to trust this moment. "Who are you?" he whispered. The alien queen bowed her head slightly, as if greeting someone long overdue. "I am," she said softly, "and you are the one I crossed galaxies to find." And Adrian, a man who thought he had no place in the universe beyond his small cabin, realized his life was no longer his own. It had just begun. Adrian's hands shook slightly as he stared at her. She was impossibly real, impossibly alive, yet there was a sense of weightlessness around her, like she existed partly in another world. His mind raced, trying to make sense of what was happening, but every rational thought collided with the strange certainty thrumming in his chest. I don't understand, he said. Why me, why here? Tilted her head, her glowing eyes softening. She stepped closer, her presence warming the air around him. You are rare. The resonance you carry is a spark in a universe that has almost forgotten its own heartbeat. Adrian blinked. Resonance, spark, I don't know what you mean. She smiled faintly, a gesture that carried both centuries of sorrow and a sudden relief he could feel as clearly as if it were a touch. It is not something the mind can explain. It is felt, it is recognized, and it is why I found you across countless worlds, across endless stars. He swallowed hard, unsure if he was frightened or mesmerized. You've searched for me? Why, what am I to you? His gaze fell to the ground for a moment, almost shyly. To my people, the heart of our civilization is fading. We have lost something vital, something that binds our minds and souls. And in the echoes of space, I felt your presence. I knew you existed. And I waited, I hoped that one day I would find you. Adrian's chest tightened. Her words carried a weight he had never imagined, like someone had been waiting for him long before he had even been born. The quiet of his small cabin, the routine of his mundane life, everything felt hollow now, like a prelude to this moment. I don't even know if I can be what you're looking for, he whispered, voice trembling. Reached out a hand, just a fingertip brushing his arm. It was warmer than he expected, human warmth and alien energy at the same time. You already are, Adrian. You don't need to understand it. You only need to feel it. The rest, the universe will adjust. Adrian stepped back instinctively, caught between disbelief and wonder. Soldiers still flanked the perimeter, but their shouts seemed distant, irrelevant. Nothing mattered except the pulse he felt in the air, the tug in his heart that matched the vibration he sensed from her. Follow me, said gently, gesturing toward her ship. I will show you. He hesitated, and if I refuse? Her smile didn't falter. Then I will wait. I have waited long enough to know that forcing anything never leads to truth. But if you come, you may finally understand what it means to belong. Adrian's legs felt heavy, yet his feet moved forward almost on their own. The ramp of her ship gleamed under the sun, welcoming him like a doorway he had always known but never seen. Inside, the ship was quiet, but it thrummed with life. The walls glowed softly, reacting to his presence. Each step he took felt lighter than the last, as though gravity itself recognized him. Moved alongside him, speaking rarely, letting her gaze communicate what words could not. After a few minutes, they arrived in a chamber that seemed to float between space and time. Through a wide, crystalline window, stars spun slowly, painting the sky with streaks of silver and violet. Adrian pressed his hands to the glass, mesmerized. It's beautiful. Yes, she whispered, and it is only the beginning. Your world, my world, all of it is connected by something far older than time itself, and you are part of it. Adrian felt a shiver run down his spine. Part of it, how? I'm just a human, I don't belong in this. Stepped close, her voice soft but certain. You belong because the universe has been waiting for you, not because you are powerful or trained or perfect, simply because you exist, and because existence alone can change everything. For the first time, Adrian believed her, and in that belief, a strange courage began to bloom inside him. Somewhere across the stars, destiny was no longer distant. It was here, standing right in front of him, and it called his name. Adrian's heart pounded as he stepped further into ship. The floor beneath him seemed alive, shifting gently like liquid crystal with every step. Light moved along the walls in soft waves, responding to his presence. It was like walking inside a heartbeat, a pulse he could feel in his chest, not just with his ears. Glided beside him, silent and graceful, her glowing eyes watching him as if she could see every thought in his mind. Adrian swallowed, trying to calm the rush of questions and fears that crowded him. He wanted answers, but part of him was afraid of what those answers might reveal. Where are we going? He asked finally. Somewhere you will begin to understand, she replied softly. This ship is not just a vessel, it is a bridge between what you know and what you are meant to see. Adrian glanced around. He had expected the interior to be cold or mechanical like a human spacecraft, but instead it felt warm and alive. Strange plants floated in small, transparent pods, their colors shifting with the light. Crystalline tendrils reached down from the ceiling like fingers brushing against the air, and strange creatures swam through translucent corridors, ignoring them completely. It was alien, yet somehow comforting. He paused, staring at a creature that resembled a fish made of glowing glass. All of this is alive. Nodded, everything here responds to energy. Life, thought, emotion, they shape this world. And it will shape you too if you allow it. Adrian's chest tightened. Shape me, why? Her gaze softened, and she placed a hand gently on his shoulder. The touch was brief, but it left warmth that lingered. Because your life until now has only been preparation. You carry a resonance, an energy that is rare and powerful, and it will take time for you to understand it, to feel it fully. But you must try, Adrian, for yourself, and for more than just yourself. He swallowed hard. The words sounded impossible, yet they resonated deep in him, like he had been waiting to hear them his whole life. I don't know if I can, he admitted quietly. You can, said, firm but patient. I will guide you, but first you must see what awaits beyond this ship. You must see the world I come from, the world you are tied to. The ship shifted suddenly, tilting forward, and the walls expanded. Adrian stumbled slightly as the floor beneath him pulsed with energy. Through a massive viewing window, he saw a planet unlike any he had ever imagined. Mountains shimmered with crystal spires, forests floated in midair, and rivers glowed softly like liquid silver. Strange flying creatures moved gracefully between the floating landmasses, and in the distance, a city sparkled with light that seemed alive. It's beautiful, he whispered, awe-catching his voice. Yes, said her voice distant with memory. It has been my home for centuries, and now you will be part of it, not just as a visitor but as something more. Adrian's stomach twisted. Something more, what does that mean? She looked at him with eyes full of quiet intensity. It means you are no longer just a human on a small planet. You are part of something greater, a bond older than stars, and that bond will be tested soon. You must be ready. The words sent a shiver down his spine, but he also felt a strange excitement building within him. For the first time, he sensed that his life had a purpose beyond the mundane, beyond the quiet cabin, beyond the empty days he thought were enough. Will it be dangerous? He asked. Perhaps, she said, voice gentle but honest. But sometimes what is worth finding must be earned through courage. Adrian nodded slowly. He didn't fully understand what awaited him, but for the first time in his life, he felt alive. He felt like he belonged, here, in this strange, glowing ship, with a being who saw him in a way no human ever could. As the ship accelerated toward her world, he looked out the window, watching the stars stretch and shimmer. Somewhere beyond those stars, he realized his ordinary life was gone forever. Ahead lay mystery, danger, and wonder, and he would face it not alone. Because beside him walked, steady and radiant, and she was waiting for him to discover what he had always been meant to become. And Adrian felt the first spark of courage ignite in his chest. The first glimpse of his world left Adrian breathless. The sky shimmered with colors he had never seen, violet streaks melting into gold, rivers of light flowing between floating islands, and forests that hovered like emerald clouds. The city ahead glimmered, built from crystalline towers that seemed to sing softly as the wind passed through. Adrian had never imagined a place could feel alive in such a way, as if every stone, every leaf, every beam of light carried a heartbeat. This is your home, he whispered. Yes, said her gaze tracing the horizon with a mixture of pride and melancholy. And now it may be your home as well, but you must understand, arrival here is only the beginning. My people are not like humans, they judge differently. They see differently, they will question your presence. Adrian's chest tightened. Question me why? His eyes darkened slightly, as if recalling a past she had long tried to forget. Because humans are fragile, you are new to our resonance. Many will doubt that you belong here. Some will fear what they do not understand, and some may even try to stop what they cannot accept. Adrian swallowed, feeling the weight of her words. I don't even know if I belong. I don't know if I can do this. You belong, she said, firm but gentle. Not because you are perfect, not because you are strong. You belong because the universe has chosen you, and that choice is beyond the understanding of anyone who cannot feel resonance as we do. The ship touched down softly on a platform at the edge of the city. Strange creatures with wings of translucent crystal glided past them, pausing to observe. Humans in Adrian's world could never imagine such beings. Yet here they were ordinary. They moved with grace and silence, eyes that seemed to see beyond the physical, sensing the currents of energy surrounding every living thing. As they walked toward the heart of the city, the atmosphere thickened with tension. People noticed Adrian immediately. Whispers traveled through the crowd like lightning across the sky. Some paused in curiosity, others in suspicion. A council of elders, towering and dignified, emerged from the crystalline palace at the center. Their expressions were sharp, questioning, and cold. One elder said, voice like grinding stone, "Who is this human you bring into our city?" "He carries resonance," said without hesitation. "He is not here by chance." "Resonance?" another elder scoffed. "You cannot claim a human belongs to our ways. He is fragile, untested, and unknown." Adrian's stomach twisted. The eyes of dozens of beings, each glowing with a strange inner light, turned toward him. Fear mixed with awe. He wanted to run, to retreat to the small, safe world he had known. Yet when he glanced at her, expression held no fear, only trust. "You see him and you doubt," she said softly, "but I know. He carries the spark our civilization has been searching for. He may not understand it yet, but he will. And if you try to deny him, you will deny the survival of everything we hold dear." The elders exchanged glances, murmuring among themselves. The tension thickened, like the air itself had turned heavy. Adrian felt small, a fragile human caught in a world far beyond his comprehension. But's hand brushed lightly against his, grounding him. In that touch, he felt a strength that belonged not to him alone, but to something far greater, a bond older than worlds. He straightened, his fear transforming into quiet determination. "I don't know what I am yet," he said, voice trembling but clear, "but I will try. I want to understand. I want to belong." The council's murmurs grew louder, But's eyes shone brighter. "Then you shall," she said. "But know this, Adrian, belonging comes not without challenge. Your path will not be simple. Some will test you. Some may even try to harm you, yet you must endure, you must grow, and together we may change the course of what comes next." Adrian looked at her, and for the first time the fear in his chest felt tempered by purpose. Somewhere in this alien city, under skies that shimmered with impossible light, he felt the first stirrings of courage. The journey ahead would not be easy, but for the first time in his life, he knew he had a place to stand, a reason to fight, and someone who believed in him completely. And with that thought, he took his first deliberate step into the city, into a world of wonder, doubt, and destiny that he could no longer ignore. The chamber where Adrian would face his trial felt alive, though silent. It was a vast room carved from glowing crystal, and every surface shimmered like water under sunlight. Strange patterns floated in the air, twisting and rearranging themselves as if aware of his presence. Adrian took a deep breath, trying to steady the nervous rhythm of his heartbeat. He had left the small comforts of his cabin on Earth for this, but nothing could prepare him for the reality of standing alone in a place that seemed to think. His hand rested lightly on his shoulder before she let go. "You do not walk into this alone," she said softly. "But the chamber will test only you. Your resonance, your inner energy, it must prove itself. Trust yourself and trust what you feel." Adrian nodded, though doubt gnawed at him. He felt ordinary, fragile, human. How could someone like him survive a test meant for beings who had lived among stars for centuries? His legs trembled slightly as he stepped forward. The air around him shimmered and pulsed as the chamber's energy began to rise. Threads of light drifted through the air, weaving intricate patterns that hummed in rhythm with a heartbeat he could not feel yet. Adrian reached out instinctively, letting his fingers brush against a thread. It was warm, not cold, and it responded to his touch, bending gently toward him. Watched from behind a protective barrier, her expression was calm, but her eyes betrayed a flicker of fear. For centuries, she had not seen a human attempt this trial. She had hoped, believed, and waited. And now, the outcome rested on Adrian alone. The chamber pulsed brighter. A sudden rush of light wrapped around him, and Adrian felt a strange vibration through his chest. It was not painful, but it was intense, almost overwhelming. Memories he did not recognize flickered behind his eyes, distant stars collapsing, voices calling his name, glimpses of worlds he had never visited. His knees buckled slightly as the energy surged. "Adrian," called, her voice a tether in the swirling storm. "Focus on what you feel, not what you see." He clenched his fists, trying to ground himself. He felt the resonance, the strange pull he had sensed since the sky broke open on Earth. It thrummed in his chest, weaving through every nerve, every thought. He realized then that the chamber did not want to destroy him. It wanted him to awaken, to understand, to embrace the spark that made him unique. The pulsing threads of light intensified, wrapping around him like a living net. Adrian felt fear rise, but alongside it, something stronger, trust. Trust in the feeling in his chest, trust in the certainty that he was exactly where he needed to be. With a deep breath, he let the resonance flow through him, allowing the energy to bend, to ripple, to merge with the chamber. A blinding pulse erupted, brighter than he could endure. And then, suddenly, it stopped. Silence. The threads hovered gently in the air, no longer chaotic, their glow steady and calm. Adrian collapsed to his knees, exhausted but alive. The chamber hummed softly, acknowledging him. He had passed, not because he had strength or skill, but because he had felt, believed, and allowed himself to exist fully in the resonance. The barrier fell and rushed to his side, her eyes wide with relief and awe. She knelt beside him, brushing a strand of hair from his forehead. "You did it," she whispered, voice trembling. "You are more than I ever imagined." Adrian looked at her, chest heaving, and a smile broke through his exhaustion. I don't even know what I became," he admitted. "Not what," she corrected gently. You became who you were always meant to be, and now the universe can move forward because of you." For the first time in his life, Adrian felt something he had never known: certainty. He belonged here not by chance, not by accident, but because he had the courage to feel what others could not. And as he rose to his feet, hand brushing the glowing threads around him, he realized the trial had not ended. It had only begun. But with beside him, he was ready. For a brief moment, Adrian allowed himself to breathe. The trial was over, the chamber quiet, and his presence felt like a shield around him. Yet outside the crystalline walls of her world, a storm was gathering, one they could neither ignore nor escape. Word had spread faster than either of them anticipated. The trial's success echoed through the galaxy like a signal reaching ears that would see it not as hope, but as a threat. A hostile empire, long at war with its people, saw the human bond with the Queen as a danger that could not be allowed. They mobilized, fleets of black ships streaking across the stars, their engines burning like angry fire. Sensed it before the alarms rang. Her violet eyes flickered toward the sky. "They come for him," she said quietly, almost to herself. Her voice carried the weight of centuries, fear, sorrow, and fierce determination all at once. Adrian stood beside her, chest still echoing with the chamber's resonance. "For me?" he asked, disbelief and fear threading his words. "Yes," she said, "because you are more than human here. You carry the spark that could change everything, and they will not allow it." The city's towers trembled as the first assault began. Energy pulses struck the crystalline spires, sending shards of light scattering into the sky like falling stars. Citizens of her world fled, creatures of all shapes and colors skimming through the streets, while warriors of the Queen's people rushed to intercept the attackers. Turned to Adrian, her gaze was steady, but her hands shook slightly. "You cannot hide," she said. "Not now. You are part of this world, part of its survival, and I will not abandon you. Do you understand?" Adrian nodded, a strange fire igniting in his chest. Fear had been there before, but now it mixed with purpose, determination, and a deep sense of belonging. "Then let me help," he said. "I may be human, but I won't stand aside." She studied him for a long moment. Then, for the first time since he met her, she smiled, fierce, proud, unshakable. "Then we fight together," she said. The battlefield stretched across floating islands, crystal rivers, and glowing forests. Adrian had never imagined himself here, yet somehow he belonged. His resonance hummed, a quiet power that blended with his energy. Together, they were a force far beyond what either could have faced alone. Explosions lit the sky. Beams of energy collided, sending shards of light spinning in every direction. Adrian ducked behind a crystal spire, feeling the vibration of every strike in his bones. Moved with him, her glowing presence a constant reminder that he was not just human. He was part of something greater. "Focus on the resonance," she shouted over the roar. "Feel it, let it guide you." Adrian closed his eyes, letting the vibrations flow through him. He felt the threads of energy intertwining, connecting him to the queen, to the city, to every living being around him. Fear dissolved, replaced by clarity. His hands glowed faintly as he reached outward, directing the energy in a protective wave that shielded nearby citizens and deflected enemy attacks. His eyes shone brighter as she joined him, their combined resonance forming a barrier that pulsed across the battlefield. Even the enemy flagship, a colossal black vessel, recoiled under the force. Adrian's heart thudded, not in fear but in triumph. The attack was relentless, yet every time doubt tried to creep in, he felt her hand brush his arm, her presence anchoring him. In that moment, he realized the truth. Courage was not absence of fear. It was the decision to face it, side by side with someone who believed in you. And though the battle raged, though the sky burned with conflict, Adrian felt something unshakable. He belonged, not just to this world, not just to, but to a destiny larger than himself. And in the distance, above the chaos, the stars themselves seemed to pulse in rhythm with his heartbeat. The battle had reached its peak. Explosions lit the sky, and shards of crystal rained down like falling stars. The enemy's flagship hovered over the city, massive and dark, its energy cannon aimed at the heart of the capital. Stood firm beside Adrian, her violet eyes glowing with unshakable determination. Every fiber of her being pulsed with resonance, and Adrian felt it echoing inside him, a steady rhythm that steadied his own heartbeat. "They're going to destroy everything," Adrian shouted over the roar, fear and adrenaline mingling in his voice. "They cannot," said, "not while you are here, not while we are together." Adrian looked at her and saw something he had never seen in any human eyes, absolute certainty. And in that certainty, he found courage he didn't know he had. His resonance surged, connecting to hers, flowing through him in waves of warmth and power. He felt the energy of the city, of her people, of every living creature in the capital, joining with him. It was overwhelming, yet familiar, as if he had been waiting his entire life to feel it. The enemy flagship unleashed a massive beam of energy. Time seemed to slow. Adrian placed his hands on, their fingers intertwining. The resonance flared, bright and powerful, forming a shield of glowing light around the city. The beam struck it, colliding with an explosion of violet and silver light. Sparks danced across the skyline, and for a heartbeat, the world trembled in silence. Then the beam shattered, not because of force alone, but because of unity. The shield held. The enemy faltered, their ships pulled back in confusion. Victory was within reach. His hand stayed on Adrian's. She leaned close, her voice trembling with emotion. You did this. You carried the resonance perfectly. I never thought." Her words broke off, choked with feelings she had kept hidden for centuries. Adrian's chest heaved. "I didn't do it alone," he said. "You guided me, you trusted me. I felt it because you believed I could." Her eyes softened, glowing brighter than ever. "At last, my human," she whispered, drawing him close. The words carried centuries of longing, relief, and love all at once. He felt the vibration of her soul, warm and steady, merging with his own. It was overwhelming, yet grounding. Adrian closed his eyes, letting the energy flow through him. He understood now. He had not just survived, he had become part of something larger than life itself. He belonged here not by chance, but because the universe had waited for him to awaken. The enemy forces retreated, leaving the city intact. The citizens cheered, but Adrian ignored the celebration around them. In this quiet moment they stood together, hands clasped, hearts resonating. The stars above shimmered like they understood, like they themselves were witnesses to a bond that had crossed galaxies and lifetimes. "You found me," Adrian said softly, a smile breaking across his face. "Not by chance, not by accident, we found each other." Rested her forehead against his. "Yes," she said. "And now nothing can undo it. The universe will remember this. I will remember this. And you will never be alone again." Adrian hugged her tightly, feeling the warmth of her presence seep into every part of him. The fear and doubt that had haunted him since his small, quiet life on Earth had vanished. He was no longer just a human. He was a part of her world, her people, and the resonance that could shape the stars themselves. For the first time, he understood what belonging meant, not just survival, not just purpose, but connection. Complete, unshakable, undeniable connection. Together, they stepped forward, hand in hand, into the glowing city. The skies cleared, the winds calmed, and the stars above seemed to shine brighter, reflecting the light that now burned inside them both. Adrian knew with absolute certainty that whatever came next, whatever challenges the universe might throw at them, they would face it together. And in that quiet triumph, in the warmth of her presence, he finally whispered back the words he had been searching for his entire life. "I'm here and I'll stay." Held him close, her voice a soft echo through the crystal city. "At last, my human, at last you are home." The resonance between them pulsed like a heartbeat, steady and eternal, a reminder that hope, courage, and love could cross stars, worlds, and lifetimes. And in that moment, Adrian realized the truth of everything he had ever felt. Together, they could change the universe. The stars themselves seemed to shine in agreement.